Location in West Bay and professional pharmacy at CTMH Doctors Hospital. The Cayman Pharmacy Group has a location for you just around the corner. Seaboard Marine. With over 35 shipping ports, find your shipping solution by calling 949-4977 or visit seaboardmarine.com for competitive rates. FIS MoneyGram, the safest and most convenient way to send money worldwide. MoneyGram, bringing you closer. Coca-Cola, available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury. And Fidelity Bank. Fidelity, we're good for you.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Coming to you live from Radio Cayman Studio.
For the record.
For the record. For the record. Hear from your government officials, independents, and the opposition on issues that matter to you. For the record. Engage in an open dialogue between residents and lawmakers.
For the record.
For the record. For the record. Informative, impartial, insightful.
This is your talk show.
1-800-534-8255. Your calls, your input. This is For the Record. And now, your host, Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome to For the Record. Today is Friday, the 3rd day of July 2020. I hope and I trust that everyone had a restful, peaceful, enjoyable evening. Those of you who are on the roads of the Cayman Islands, again, we urge you to please be extremely cautious. Ensure that you observe the rules of the road, whether you're a pedestrian, a cyclist, operating any type of motorized vehicle on the roads of the Cayman Islands. Bear in mind that the life you save may be your own. For those of you who are celebrating a birthday today, we want to wish you a happy birthday, or if you have celebrated one during the past few days, a belated happy birthday. And if you're going to be celebrating one over the weekend, we wish you a happy one when it arrives. As well, for those of you who have lost loved ones, we want to extend our sincere condolences to you, and we hope and we trust that your faith will help to carry you through these very challenging times. And again, we want to extend once more our condolences, our sincere condolences to MLA Mr. Ezra Miller and his family and the passing of Mr. Miller's mother as well. So, folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman and, by extension, For the Record, into your homes, into your vehicles, as you traverse the roads of the Cayman Islands, into your places of work, wherever that may be. As you know, For the Record is a show produced by the staff and the management of Radio Cayman, and it is geared towards keeping you abreast of issues as they arise and play out on the local, regional, and international scene. I am your host, Orrett Connor, and you're welcome to join me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7:30 a.m. until 10 a.m. During that period, our phone lines are always open, and back in the studio with us, none other than that beautiful radio voice of Miss Susan Watson, waiting to take your calls. You can call us on our toll-free number provided courtesy of Flow. That toll-free number is 1-800-534-8255. You can also call us on 949-8037 and 949-6990. If you don't like to talk on the telephone, email us at fortherecord, one word, fortherecord at candw.ky. WhatsApp us, 925-3261, where you can leave us a text message or send us a voice note, the contents of which will be played during the course of the show. And, of course, you can follow us on YouTube simply by subscribing to Radio Cayman live stream. What we also want to do this morning, first thing is, before I introduce my guest, is to look at the COVID testing update for yesterday, the 2nd of July. And the Chief Medical Officer, Dr. John Lee, reported 252 COVID-19 tests that were carried out since the last report on the 1st of July. And of those 252, none were positive for the SARS-CoV-2 virus that causes the COVID-19 disease. So 252 test results, no positives in those at all. So again, Cayman Islands, we're looking good. We just need to continue to in the direction that we're going. We need to ensure that we physical distance, we wear our mask, we practice proper sanitary conditions as well. And if we do that, we should be sitting pretty good. We should continue to sit pretty good, and we should be able to avoid any second wave, even though the experts have said we really didn't have a first wave per se because we were successful in that. So I will ask the Honorable Arden McLean, Leader of the Opposition, to comment on the COVID-19 situation in the Cayman Islands, how it is being handled, and any advice that he would want to give to our audience as well. Mr. Leader, good morning, sir. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, OC, and good morning to the broader Cayman Islands. Back again.
Yes.
OC, I too would like to publicly again express condolences to Mr. Miller and his siblings.
Mm-hmm. And I did share your release that you issued. I shared that on Wednesday as well with our audience.
And then we did our thing in the Legislative Assembly also. So, and one of the things I said in the Legislative Assembly, these are the women in this country that has never been properly recognized. These are the women that built this country to bring us thus far. Mm-hmm. When the men were out to sea, these women were responsible for the affairs of this country. So, in essence, we recognize seamen and their contribution, but we have never properly recognized the women that stayed home, the wives who had to manage the affairs of the country. In addition, they had to raise the families, Mm-hmm. So I trust that Mr. Miller and his brother and two sisters, Jerris, Mary Lou, and Susan, will find peace in knowing that her contribution is invaluable. OC, on the matter of the COVID-19 in Cayman, I think we have been, may I say, the old cliche, we have somewhat dodged a bullet, so to speak. I believe that was because we promptly shut down anyone coming in, shut down the ports. Mm-hmm. We may argue that it could have been done earlier or should have been done later, but that's besides the point. My only concern now is, what do we do? Going forward, how do we keep it in check? Because our gateway into the world is through Miami, and Miami is on that, if you call it second wave or first wave, and that's not looking good for them. It's really not looking good. That I think I saw where just yesterday again they had some 10,000.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
A couple of days before that it was much higher.
And over 53, close to 55,000 throughout the U.S.
Yes.
In total, yeah.
And that is not good. And they're predicting that it'll be 100,000 a day that at least are tested for it. I mean, I am not going to politically comment on whether or not they did the right things and who was supposed to do it or who wasn't supposed to do it. But it has not been good there. But then when you think of it, you're talking about 300 and nearly 400 million people too. So you can't do a direct comparison with Cayman, which only has 60,000 people. We're but a small town in America. So, but I am concerned about that as to when we open this airport, who we allow to come in, because it is seriously concerning that maybe that is where our wave will come. And so I find it needs to be seriously looked at, and I hope that we can keep that wave down.
Yeah, and many people see the challenge coming in terms of when we decide to open up our borders and what we do then. We have seen several jurisdictions announce a particular policy only to find out later that that is not going to work. Some have come up with travelers presenting test results when they're applying to enter a country, showing that they have been free of the virus for a particular number of days, and then when they get into the country, then doing testing again. Some have talked about quarantining once people arrive, and if you're catering to the tourist industry, no one wants to come and quarantine for 14 days, on their vacation, when their vacation is probably going to be less than 14 days. A lot has to do with costs as well. So just like there were things that they were finding about the virus itself that they didn't know about before, and they learned it as we went along, I think the same thing will happen as far as reopening borders are concerned, that it's going to be a hit and a miss situation, and you really can't afford to miss. And it is probably best for us to sit back and wait and see what happens. In the meantime, continue to work on getting our nationals back home, those who want to come back home. But we still have to resist the pressures about opening up for business when it isn't there. We have one caller. Let's see if we can grab the caller before we go to our first break. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Morning.
Talking about this virus, and we been doing pretty good so far, which is great. My biggest concern is like what you just said. If and when we open up our borders, that's going to be our biggest issue. We can't keep it closed forever, but we're going to see a change when we open the cruise ship and the airport. Because let me tell you something. I don't care what anybody says. The people in America, they don't give a lot. You know what? And we don't want them coming here lying, telling us that they don't have to take no test, or they don't have to show no proof that they are virus free and so forth, because when they got this thing up to their arms, that it's them and them only. So our government will have to do a serious, I'm not going to use the word scan, but a serious check to know how we're going to bring these people in here and they're safe, and to keep us safe, because
Caller, you're coming in a little muffled there. Coming in a little muffled. Hard of hearing you. Let's try now.
I'm not on no speakerphone.
Okay.
I'm not on no speakerphone.
No. But we're hearing you much better now.
Okay, I guess I was turning the wheel too much on my car. No, but seriously, we got a big task ahead of us to keep this virus down here in the Cayman Islands. And we're going to have a lot of people who are going to want to come in here and have the food and mess up things for us. That's all I have to say. They're going to try to mess up things for us, and we don't need that. So we can't keep closed down forever.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever the government plan on doing to continue to protect us, which you have done a good job of, Mr. Ireland, and the governor, I've never seen a governor work so hard in my life, and he's there with us and shoulder to shoulder with this situation, and greatly appreciated. But we got to do some serious double checking when we open our borders to let people in here. I want to go back to work, but boy, I think we're going to get some of it here when these things are open up. I just pray that we can open it safely And these people who come in to visit us obey all rules and regulations. If they can't, put them back on the same plane they come on that airport and that same boat when they come to our shores. Put them back on and sail them out.
Yep.
You cannot afford to let no master grave big head in the Cayman Islands for $2. And thank you guys so much. You all have a great one.
Thank you very much. You have a great day as well, and stay safe. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Historical Vignette Series, brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. The Cayman Islands, He hath founded it upon the seas.
Frances Louise Bodden, MBE, JP, 1903 to 1978. Miss Frances Bodden, sometimes called the Mother of Israel, was perhaps the best known and best loved woman in Grand Cayman for several decades. She served as secretary to successive commissioners and as general factotum at the government office, to whom everyone went for everything. She was a pillar of the Emsley Church, teacher, preacher, Women's Guild, and Girls' Guildry leader, and right hand to the minister. She was a Cub and a Scout commissioner, as well as an executive member of the Girls' Brigade. She was a justice of the peace, serving in both juvenile court and the higher court. Miss Frances was even the collector of agouti heads when the government paid a bounty for each agouti killed because of their destruction of vegetation. Georgetown's only telephone was in Miss Frances' house in Georgetown, which she kept as a boarding house. Among her boarders was the Reverend George Hicks after his retirement.
The Toyota-thon 2020 event is going on now at Vamped Motors. Get our lowest prices of the year on a great selection of our most popular Toyotas, with big savings on the new CHR Hybrid, the 7-seater Rush, the adventurous RAV4, the rugged Hilux truck, and more. You can drive home an amazing deal. Save up to $5,000. Take the full discount, get cash back, upgrade your vehicle with your savings. It's all your choice during our huge Toyota-thon sales event going on through July. Don't miss out. Come to Vamped Motors for your new Toyota. Let's go places.
Fidelity Bank would like to thank all essential workers. We salute your efforts and thank you for the sacrifices you've made to keep us all safe. During these challenging times we're facing, our top priority is the health and safety of the communities we serve. And while it's true that things are changing rapidly every day, one thing that will never change is our commitment to giving you the best and sound financial solutions to help you during and after the coronavirus pandemic. At Fidelity Bank, our focus will always be you. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Recent worldwide events bring into focus the need for quality health care. Your life is meaningful. Your health is no laughing matter. Cayman Pharmacy Group strives to make your health their concern. Recognizing the complexities of pharmaceuticals and the need to personalize your care with one-on-one counseling, West Bay Pharmacy, Savannah Pharmacy, and CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy. Convenient quality care is just around the corner. Visit CaymanPharmacy.com for more information. Cayman Pharmacy Group, taking care of your health.
At Seaboard Marine, customers often ask us questions about their shipments.
I have various items coming from different suppliers that I need to ship to Cayman. Do you offer consolidation?
Yes, Seaboard Marine offers consolidation for full and less than container loads. We can hold your packages at our Miami warehouse until everything arrives and ship it all in one go. And we have the best rates to Grand Cayman. Visit seaboardmarine.com for more information.
Shipping shore to shore, Seaboard.
Hi, I'm remodeling our bathroom. I have a few questions.
Sure.
What are some ideas to make my bathroom feel larger? How do I know if I'm picking the right vanity? How do I choose a new toilet or a new countertop? Also, the lighting is terrible. Can I put a window or a skylight? And do I really need an exhaust fan?
You've come to the right place. At Brand Source, we custom design kitchen and baths, and our talented design team can help answer your questions. Whether you're looking for a modern, functional family bathroom or a luxurious personal retreat, we'll help create that beautiful space that makes your home yours. And if you're in a rush for a new look and have a limited budget, our ready-to-install bathroom vanities, built with solid wood and countertops of the finest materials, are a quick and easy remodeling solution.
For the very best in custom-designed kitchens and baths, visit Brand Source Home Gallery on Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, Cayman's Kitchen and Bath Center.
All Ministry of Education's scholarship recipients, returning and new students are advised that there will be a mandatory Zoom meeting today with the Secretariat. The mandatory meetings will be hosted online via Zoom and will be specific to each university's location. 10 a.m. returning students studying in the UK. 11 a.m. returning students studying in Canada and the Caribbean. 12 noon returning students studying in the United States and other jurisdictions. And at 4 p.m. the meeting will be held for all new 2020 overseas scholarship applicants, and parents may also attend this meeting. All students are required to attend the online Zoom meetings specific to their university location. Topics to be discussed include procedures for submitting required documents, travel arrangements, and alternative options for consideration during the pandemic. For more information about the Scholarship Secretariat, email scholarships@gov.ky or visit www.education.gov.ky.
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me this morning, the Leader of the Opposition, Honorable Arden McLean, is in with us. So, Mr. McLean, as far as our tourism product is concerned, we rely heavily on the North American market for that. When we were considering fingerprinting of passengers coming in, we deferred to the Americans. Not that they requested it, but we deferred to them because, our argument was people, want to get through immigration and customs as quickly as possible. The whole thing about fingerprinting and security issues. But yet, when we go into the United States, we submit ourselves. We have to submit ourselves to fingerprinting, but we did not do it. We chose not to do it here in the Cayman Islands. This is one area where we cannot defer to the Americans, even though I believe that Americans don't really want to travel at this point in time. They would prefer to stay home. That may be contradicted by what the carelessness and recklessness that we're seeing members of the public in the United States practicing, and as a result of that causing flare-ups in various areas of the United States as well. But my point is that we have to do what is best for Cayman from a safety and a health perspective, not from a financial one. The financial gains and the motivation should not trump the safety and the health of the people of the Cayman Islands.
I totally agree with you, but it's a serious consideration, the financial aspect of it, because we can circulate the circulation. Our economy cannot totally depend upon circulation in the economic circulation. We cannot. Therefore, there must be some consideration as to the health first and how we get those people in here to spend money. One of the things that I said to the Premier recently in a telephone conversation was I renewed my position to him on long-term residents in this country. What was it we call them? Snowbirds. Uh-huh. People who have their homes here. They're just sitting here doing nothing. I believe those are the ones that we should at least try to get in, because they have some permanency here, and they will spend money, and they come, they go buy food and stuff. Now the difficulty we will have with
and they also have the ability to self quarantine if
right.
they have their own places rather than because they're not renting.
Right,
yeah.
That's the only difficulty we're going to have with that is the quarantine of these people. However, I believe that since they have their own private homes, they should be allowed to quarantine at their homes at their expense. And by that I mean there are a number of security firms here. They may have to hire one which is controlled by the public health system here, which will direct those security officers, and they have to keep them there 24 hours a day. I'm sure they will do that because they'll be here, and the only thing we have to ensure is that they do not go out to the boundaries of their properties,
yeah.
And then they can have people go and do their shopping and whatnot, and maintain their distance, and then when the time comes, they'll just have to pay other people to go and test them.
But and that would work. That would work where you have single dwelling.
Right.
But when you have condos that people are sharing, you have a condo in a building that maybe has that 60 units or something like that. That becomes even more difficult, because then you're going to have to restrict them to their premises, so they won't be able to use the beaches or anything like that.
Right, there's no common areas you can use,
exactly,
as we do nowadays with our returning residents. They cannot use any common areas. Maybe they do, like an hour or something, a little exercise or something like. I don't know how it works, but that was what I was hearing, that they'll let you out for a few minutes or something per day. But yes, that would have to be strictly controlled, or, I don't know, they're looking at different places. And then maybe some of them will gladly go into those quarantine stations. But, give them the option, if you want to come back, you're welcome, but here are the conditions. And I know all those up in East End and North Side. Those are primarily single-family homes, and that was the intent, to come here for 6 months out of the year, and they're right in the middle of that 6 months now. Besides, I believe those people will feel safer here, because the majority of those are Americans, really. We have a few Europeans up there as well, but I believe that's one of the things that we need to do, because it would surprise you to see how many of those are in this country. It would really surprise you. They go in and out, and you don't even know they're here. But the premier did admit to me that they have been looking at it, but it is posing some difficulties. And they're trying to work through them. And I believe if we slowly ramp it up in that manner, but you're right, we cannot be dictated by the Americans now like we were during the 2005-2009 administration, when we bought all of those biometric readers. You remember that?
I know, yeah.
And they're now redundant, really. They're outdated, really. They're dated and cannot be used, but they're sitting somewhere in the storeroom. And the reaction was because of one nationality that we had found in here that was dangerous, and Americans wouldn't assist us and the likes.
Providing the details, yeah.
Providing the details.
Top of the hour, folks. 8 o'clock news. When we return, the conversation with the Leader of the Opposition, the Honourable Arden McLean, will continue, so please stay tuned.
Time now by Foster's is 7:59.
Good news. Reusable bags can again be used when shopping at all Foster's and Price Right locations. So you don't forget your bags when shopping with us, we suggest leaving them in your car. However, if you do forget, we now have new 100% recycled reusable bags made from recycled and clean clear plastic bottles, which helps divert plastic from landfills. You can find these at all Foster's locations. For more shopping updates, follow at Foster's K-Man on social. Foster's, better because we care.
The voice of the Cayman Islands.
89.9 FM in Grand Cayman and 93.9 FM in Cayman Brac and Little Cayman.
Silver wings shining in the sunlight.
Radio Cayman.
The 8 a.m. news is proudly sponsored by the Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. For further information, please visit chamberpension.ky. The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. We're here for you. Did you know that with the COVID-19 Emergency Withdrawal Program, we reviewed over 12,000 member applications in May, approved over 8,000 applications, and paid over CI 90 million to our members from June 12th onwards? We are the Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan, and we're here for you. For further information regarding the Emergency Withdrawal Program, visit chamberpension.ky, and for information as it happens, follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram. Email admin@pensions.ky or call 745-7630.
Your voice, your choice for today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
With your latest news, I'm Carsley Fuller. The civil service has been working, quote, extremely hard to increase the ways public can access government services, including introducing more online services. However, the head of the civil service says they are also aware of the need to ensure that their services remain accessible to all of their valued customers, including those who prefer more traditional processes and are not comfortable with doing business online to access government services.
The civil service is also cognizant of the fact that access to information technology can be a barrier as well, and not every resident has ready access to the internet. Our goal is to deliver a world-class customer experience, and we know that the ability for the customer to access our services in a manner that meets their needs is essential to ensuring that we can reach our goal of delivering an outstanding customer experience.
The Honorable Franz Manderson says while government has shifted many of their experiences online, mainly out of necessity during the shelter-in-place orders, now that those restrictions have been lifted, they're resuming in-person access where that has been curtailed.
Many of our departments are now transitioning to a hybrid service delivery model that includes a digital-first approach combined with the more traditional service delivery methods. We believe that this approach is one that will be welcomed by our customers who prefer the convenience of the digital service delivery, as well as those who wish to connect with our services through the more traditional pre-COVID platforms.
By creating more options for how customers can access civil services, Mr. Manderson believes government will be able to deliver efficiencies as well as an improved customer experience. The Department of Commerce and Investment wishes to advise current holders of liquor licenses without a trade and business license to submit an application to the Trade and Business Licensing Board before August 31st. Starting October, all holders are required to have valid trade and business licenses along with their liquor license to sell and distribute intoxicating liquor. This is pursuant to the law, which was revised in 2016 and included the changes with a requirement for a liquor license holder to obtain a valid trade and business license prior to holding their liquor license. Members of the public can contact the DCI by calling 949-0934 or by emailing info@dci.gov.ky. In regional news, the Dominican government says it is prepared to close the island until December, even as it announced plans to reopen its borders to international travel in August. Prime Minister Roosevelt Scarrett said that Dominica cannot afford another wave of the coronavirus that has killed 516,000 people and infected nearly 11 million globally since it was first detected last December. While Dominica recorded 18 positive cases, the island, like many other countries worldwide, locked down its borders in a bid to prevent the spread of the virus. The government announced that its borders will be reopened to international travel on August 15th, and Scarrett said it is imperative that Dominica maintains the protocols put in place to deal with the impact of the virus. He says one of the main things Dominica must do is to avoid a reason to shut down the country again. Now with a check of international news, here's the BBC, which will take us out of the newscast. I'm Carsley Fuller from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
BBC News with Aaron Safir.
The first hearing has taken place in Turkey in the trial of 20 Saudi Arabian nationals for the murder of the Saudi journalist Jamal Khashoggi. His fiancée, Hatice Cengiz, was the first to give evidence on the killing of Mr. Khashoggi inside the Saudi consulate in Istanbul almost 2 years ago. She later said she found the trial process spiritually debilitating and that she would continue seeking justice everywhere. The Saudi defendants are being tried in absentia. They are charged with deliberate, monstrous killing. The French President Emmanuel Macron has named a new Prime Minister as he undertakes a major government reshuffle to try to reframe his political agenda. He's a centre-right mayor, Jean Castex, who orchestrated the country's exit from its coronavirus lockdown. That role earned him the nickname Mr. Deconfinement. A Hong Kong citizen has been charged with secession and terrorist activity in the first such case under a new national security law imposed by the Chinese government. He's reported to have driven his motorcycle into a group of policemen on Wednesday during a protest in Hong Kong against the new legislation. A French appeals court has rejected a request to reopen an investigation into the shooting down of a plane carrying the Rwandan president Juvenal Habyarimana more than 20 years ago. The incident sparked the Rwandan genocide. And that's the latest BBC News.
The 8 a.m. news is proudly sponsored by the Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. For further information, please visit chamberpension.ky. The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. We're here for you. Did you know that with the COVID-19 emergency withdrawal program, we reviewed over 12,000 member applications in May, approved over 8,000 applications, and paid over CI 90 million to our members from June 12th onwards? We are the Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan, and we're here for you. For further information regarding the emergency withdrawal program, visit chamberpension.ky. And for information as it happens, follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram. Email admin@pensions.ky or call 745-7630.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman for the latest in news and information.
Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, www.radiocayman.gov.ky.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
Green Turtle. Modern solutions to get you through the new normal. Download the Green Turtle app now and top up yours or a loved one's phone with any mobile carrier in any destination. Home delivery of laptops, tablets, phones, accessories, and iTunes and major online retailer gift cards. And now, home deliveries of groceries and courier service. Guaranteed delivery within 2 hours from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Visit their list of products at greenturtle.ky or download the Green Turtle app today. Green Turtle is not only the future of mobile, but today it can help save a life. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app, the future of mobile, saving lives today.
Applications are invited for a 4-year scholarship to pursue any program of study leading to a bachelor's degree at Northern Caribbean University, NCU, in Mandeville, Jamaica. The scholarship, valued at $25,000, is available for the 2021 academic year and will cover tuition, books, and board. Scholarship applicants must first have a place in an academic program at NCU. Deadline for scholarship application is July 17th. Caymanians who are interested in receiving the scholarship may contact the NCU Cayman chapter at 938-2209 or email ncu.kyalumni@gmail.com.
All Ministry of Education's scholarship recipients, returning and new students are advised that there will be a mandatory Zoom meeting today with the Secretariat. The mandatory meetings will be hosted online via Zoom and will be specific to each university's location. 10 a.m. returning students studying in the UK. 11 a.m. returning students studying in Canada and the Caribbean. 12 noon returning students studying in the United States and other jurisdictions. And at 4 p.m. the meeting will be held for all new 2020 overseas scholarship applicants, and parents may also attend this meeting. All students are required to attend the online Zoom meetings specific to their university location. Topics to be discussed include procedures for submitting required documents, travel arrangements, and alternative options for consideration during the pandemic. For more information about the Scholarship Secretariat, email scholarships@gov.ky or visit www.education.gov.ky.
The Weather Report is proudly sponsored by Super Stitch Sewing and Fabric Center, your one-stop household store at 39 Pasador Place, Smith Road. Still offering the best prices in town. Call 949-2833 or go to superstitch.com.ky.
New stock has just arrived at Super Stitch. Now don't take my word for it. Drop by and see for yourself. Fresh off the boat, we have loads of fabric, vinyl upholstery fabric, fabric for cushions, outdoor fabrics, and dress fabric. That's not all. Super Stitch has sewing accessories and craft items. Included in the new shipment, you will find sheets, comforters, throw pillows, bath mats, rugs, and curtains for every room in your home. Super Stitch, 39 Pasador Place, Smith Road. Still offering the best price in town. Call 949-2833 or go to superstitch.com.ky.
A pleasant good morning. Let's take a look at the latest weather report. Current temperature is 85 degrees. Relative humidity is 77%. The barometric pressure is 29.92 inches and rising. The wind is east-northeast at 9 knots. Overnight low temperature was 77 degrees. Synopsis indicate isolated showers along with easterly winds and seas will continue across the Cayman area for the next 24 hours. As a tropical wave moves over the western Caribbean. Fluctuations in the concentration of the dust haze can be expected over the next few days. Radar images show isolated showers in and around the Cayman area, which are moving towards the west. Now, the forecast for today calling for partly cloudy skies with a 30% chance of afternoon showers, and temperatures will be in the upper 80s. Your winds will be east at 5 to 10 knots, and seas will be slight, with wave heights of 1 to 3 feet. Pretty much the same for tonight. Partly cloudy skies with a 30% chance of showers, and temperatures will fall to the low 80s tonight. Your winds will be east at 5 to 10 knots, and seas will be slight with wave heights of 1 to 3 feet. Low tide will be this afternoon at 2:32. High tide again tonight at 9:21. The sun will set this evening at 6 minutes past 7 and will rise tomorrow morning at 5:53. And the outlook is calling for similar weather conditions through Sunday morning as a second tropical wave is expected to pass over the western Caribbean. That's the very latest on your weather report.
Super Stitch Sewing and Fabric Center was the proud sponsor of the Weather Report, your one-stop shop for all of your household items, craft items, jewelry, beads, and decorations, and much more. Call Super Stitch at 949-2833 or email customer care at superstitch.com.ky.
Super Stitch. We are known for our amazing fabrics, top quality tailoring, and dressmaking. But did you know that we also carry trimmings, glitter, sequins, acrylic paints for fabrics and craft, floral wire, glues, markers, foam balls, and assorted ribbons? Yes, we do. You have a do-it-yourself project? Just pop into Super Stitch and see what we have in store for you. There is a craft item for your every need.
My favorite, the beads, glass ones, flat, and even those shell ones.
Super Stitch, your one-stop household store at 39 Pasadora Place, Smith Road. Still offering the best prices in town. Call 949-2833 or go to superstitch.com.ky.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
Top of the morning to you. Let's take a look at your traffic report. Looking to the east, traffic is steady on Shamrock Road, also on the Linford Pearson Highway. Steady traffic in some sections, other section busy traffic on the Esley Tibbetts Highway, heading towards the Butterfield Roundabout. From the West Bay 4-way stop, light to moderate traffic flow, and North Sound Road traffic is flowing moderately. Light to moderate traffic flow as well on Edward Street, and traffic flowing pretty good on Shedden Road. And on the West Bay Road in front of the Ritz, traffic is moderate in both directions. And little busy traffic on Cool Road and some sections of Cool Road, steady traffic. That's the very latest on your traffic. Join us again at about 10 minutes after 12. We'll give you another traffic report. Have a good morning and buckle up.
Subway is helping to keep Cayman safe by limiting store openings and hours, offering curbside pickup and delivery right to your door. With 3 locations currently open to serve you: Anderson Square in Georgetown, Centennial Towers in West Bay, and Countryside Shopping Village in Savannah. Subway is open from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. on soft curfew days. Free delivery for orders with a minimum $20 purchase. Delivery times only from 10 a.m. until 3 p.m. Subway, helping you to enjoy your favorite foods in the safest way possible.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
Oh gosh.
Don't let the stress of taking care of loved ones get you down.
Home care, now made easier with Cayman Medical Supplies. 100% Caymanian owned. Cayman Medical Supplies now stocks a wide range of home care supplies. Hospital beds, all types of wheelchairs, including beach access wheelchairs, lifts, commodes, shower chairs, walkers, Curad brand orthopedic supplies. Free blood glucose monitors with the purchase of 1 pack of test strips, blue underpads, and a whole lot more.
Need home care convenience? Drop by Cayman Medical Supplies at 93 Smith Road, Windward Center, or call 949-6211. Free delivery.
We know there has been a lot of changes, and Cayman Medical Supplies is here for the community. From gloves and sanitizers to mandatory supplies, including masks. Hours are now Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Saturday, 9 a.m. till noon. Free delivery island-wide.
As the community continues to take precautions from COVID-19, it is important to stay prepared for other disasters now that we're in the hurricane season. Here are some post-hurricane safety tips from the Department of Environmental Health. Cistern water designated for the purposes of drinking, cooking, and bathing must be disinfected before use after a hurricane. Simply leave the water for 1 minute after it begins to boil, or to disinfect with bleach, add 3 ounces of chlorine bleach to every 1,000 gallons of water. A residual bleach smell is an indicator that the water has been properly disinfected. For full guidance on post-hurricane safety tips, visit www.deh.gov.ky.
This weekend, we're celebrating Constitutional Day here in the Cayman Islands. So tune in on Saturday night at 8 o'clock on Breeze Radio for your yesteryear musicals. Constitution Day edition. There'll be music and narrative reflective of and in celebration. That's Saturday night on Breeze Radio, 105.3 FM in Grand Cayman and 91.9 FM in Caymanbrack and Little Cayman. Saturday night, 8 o'clock, your yesteryear musical on Breeze Radio.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. One of our listeners has, and in the studio with me this morning, none other than the Leader of the Opposition, the Honourable Arden McLean. One of our listeners has written in and said, please remind the public that Monday is Constitution Day. And I'll just add in there, we did have the chairman of the Cayman Islands Constitutional Commission here on the line with us on Wednesday on For the Record. I had a good chat with Mr. Von Carter as well. So the person says that Monday is Constitution Day, and this was supposed to be the year of celebration. We could at least put out flags, play our national song, review some of the highlights of our history. Sunday is Constitution Sunday. Churches can be asked to say a special prayer for the nation as well. Good idea. We also have a caller. Let's grab the caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, O'Shane. Good morning, Mr. Arden.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Not as good as you, but God is good, and I thank Him every day for His giving me everything I need. I want to talk this morning about, I'm so disappointed about what's happening now in this island with, politically and otherwise. But I thought about it, and I said, The last election, when people got in, they were going to do this. They had all these rules. They were going to have these district councils. Now, I've been talking to some of the politicians in West. We've got 4 down here. And everybody say, yeah, we got to do it. But nobody got together, ever called the community together. I think Bernie Bush, when he first got it, he talked about it, but he was under the impression that district council was like in each little constituency. The district council is supposed to be an overall council for the whole district. But nothing has been done. We have situations in government where ministers come up with what they want to do. And I'm suggesting this to Mr. Arden this morning, since he's in the House. Why is it that when we have projects that are costing millions of dollars, that they can decide among themselves, the party system can decide among themselves in the House, that they are going to move forward with it? And some of these projects, I said the other morning, I said, how is it that John Gray High School is sitting there for over 10 years, around 10 years, unfinished? That was one of the projects they were going to do when they got in. And that place is still there. Why is it that the Minister for Education that was there the last election couldn't be the same minister this time? I noticed that when they get in, they change everything around. They give this one this time, and the next time they give them something else. How can we have an education system that is consistently working properly when we go from one to the other each time they have an election? Why is it that they can't have the same person in charge of the same things all the time? How we can get things done?
Well, caller, if I can interrupt there. Caller, if I can interrupt.
I'm worried about Cayman. I am totally concerned about the stuff that I see that's happening.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody is kind of going about the business. We don't have... All I can tell you, gentlemen, if you sit down and think about what's going on in Cayman today and how a politician can decide that they're not going to publish or they're not going to say this or not going to say that. What kind of a system? Are we living in a dictator system?
Mm-hmm. Caller, if I may, two points. One that you mentioned about the advisory district councils, and we saw... I don't know if you listened on Wednesday, but in my discussion with the Mr. Vaughn Carter, we talked about that. One of the things that we have to look at with the advisory district councils is whether or not we want to have advisory district councils for all 19 constituencies, or whether or not we want to have the advisory district councils for our traditional districts that we have. Because if you end up with 19 advisory district councils, you're going to have an overlap in terms of boundaries and stuff like that. So you may get more in terms of consensus and what it is that you're looking to achieve if we did it by districts as opposed to by constituencies. So that is something that we have to consider. On the issue that you talk about with changing ministers, two things to bear in mind. You can change ministers, but then the technocrats, they're still there. The administrative staff is still there. And unless a minister is the sole individual who decides policy in relation to whatever ministry they have responsibility for, if it is collective responsibility that is that is practiced by cabinet, where the cabinet collectively makes the decision in relation to policy, and then the minister then is charged along, with ensuring that that policy is implemented through the administrative staff that is there. So you can change ministers, you can change subjects, as long as the policy remains the same. Mr. McLean, any comments on that?
Yeah. And I know our people, not unique to our people, but it is something that happens throughout democracies in this world. They see these things happening, and you really have to be there to understand how it works. And that's not to say that anyone is stupid or anything like that. I'll give a classic example. Let's say, all right, politicians win and lose. Some may lose, and then others come in, and you have to create an executive. So let's use me for example. If I was part of that party that was there, and you had a minister responsible for works, and that minister lost seat or something of that nature. Because remember, it's only about policy that the on behalf of the people that the executive is made up of politicians. So when I come in, then that minister for roads lost his or her seat, and I would come in. My expertise then would be on roads. So there you go, you change the minister. Or the minister for roads was more suitable for something else, say e-commerce or something like that we needed somebody in that area that was somewhat lacking or something like that. You put that minister for works over there, and then when I'm coming in, you put me for works. You see, those are the things that you struggle with when you create an executive, when you create a government, and it's extremely difficult to try and suit people to the different subjects.
That is why you shouldn't try to do it, because 9 times out of 10 you don't have that suit to begin with, because
Absolutely.
You have politicians who are coming in with no expertise in anything.
But for instance, right now, and this is no slight on anyone. Right now, we don't have a doctor as a politician, so we had to use John Seymour as a Minister of Health.
And sometimes you find that you have a doctor who does not do a good job as a Minister of Health.
So those are the things that it is a juggling act in that first week. And you're throwing the balls in the air and trying to catch them.
But that goes back to my argument. That is why policy, you establish the policy, then you get someone to ensure that policy is carried out.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, it is the technocrats. You hear people say it's the civil service that runs the country. That's where the rubber meets the road, right? You know, with the civil service. Caller, you still there? We don't want to forget the caller. Caller, you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay. Let me get you to get your final thoughts on it.
Yeah, the thing is that the point I was making, Arden and Jose, is that when we get people in there who you go into a thing, okay, wouldn't it be better if the same people I'm talking, and not when people get left out in the election anyway, but the same people get back in.
Mm-hmm.
Would it be logical that person who was the minister for whatever,
the continuity you're talking about, continuity.
The continuity.
Okay.
It would be ideal. Sorry, it would be ideal. But let's look at Tara and the Minister Rivers, who was education. The two financial people lost, which was Patton and the Minister of Finance,
Archer.
Mm-hmm. They lost. Alden had a juggling act to do, I can tell you, because he has no one then to carry that on. But here comes Juliana O'Connor, who's a former teacher.
I understand that.
What are you going to do?
Yeah. Go ahead, Colin.
That's the point, gentlemen. What I'm making is Juliana O'Connor had experience in that area. But she was, I think before she got in last time, she was a Speaker of the House or something. But I'm saying that what we have to do is, this is all I'm asking, that anything that we do, because remember, these people represent, the people in that house represent the people out there. And if you can't consult with those people about certain things that you plan to do and you go do them, and then when they ask, why is it happening, you can say to them, well, we can't give you this information because we are the boss. They work for us, They are our servants, our representatives.
So it depends on
consult with us.
It depends on your choice, who you sent there. We can't just send, no one can send them back to you and say, oh, well, this one is not suitable. You have to use what you have.
Okay, we have to take a commercial break. Caller, we want to thank you very much for starting that conversation and in that vein. Folks, please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
Fidelity Bank would like to thank all essential workers. We salute your efforts and thank you for the sacrifices you've made to keep us all safe. During these challenging times we're facing, our top priority is the health and safety of the communities we serve. And while it's true that things are changing rapidly every day, one thing that will never change is our commitment to giving you the best and sound financial solutions to help you during and after the coronavirus pandemic. At Fidelity Bank, our focus will always be you. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Recent worldwide events bring into focus the need for quality health care. Your life is meaningful. Your health is no laughing matter. Cayman Pharmacy Group strives to make your health their concern. Recognizing the complexities of pharmaceuticals and the need to personalize your care with one-on-one counseling, West Bay Pharmacy, Savannah Pharmacy, and CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy. Convenient quality care is just around the corner. Visit CaymanPharmacy.com for more information. Cayman Pharmacy Group, taking care of your health.
Honey, our fridge has stopped working again. Everything in the freezer is melting. We need to get this repaired right away. I'm calling Brand Source Service.
When you need the very best appliance service, call Brand Source Service at 623-5000. Offering service and installation of all brands and models of appliances. Brand Source Service is Cayman's source for appliance parts and repairs with qualified and experienced technicians and the island's largest stock of appliance parts. Brand Source Service will have your repair completed in a flash. So, whatever the problem is, call the experts at 623-5000. Brand Source Service, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park. Telephone 623-5000.
The Toyota-thon 2020 event is going on now at Vamped Motors. Get our lowest prices of the year on a great selection of our most popular Toyotas with big savings on the new CHR Hybrid, the 7-seater Rush, the adventurous RAV4, the rugged Hilux truck, and more. You can drive home an amazing deal. Save up to $5,000. Take the full discount, get cash back, upgrade your vehicle with your savings. It's all your choice during our huge Toyota-thon sales event going on through July. Don't miss out. Come to Vamped Motors for your new Toyota. Let's go places.
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Okay, good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. Mr. McLean, I just want to deal very quickly still with what we dealt with the last caller before we go. We have two callers on hold. Again, when you look at the system, the way that our system works, our election law, our constitution, it talks about the qualities that a candidate seeking office has to have. And it has to do with whether or not that person, is fit to hold office in terms of their citizenship, their age, and things like that. It doesn't ask,
what
about
your
skills,
educational qualifications.
Skills. No, not looking for skills at all. If you want your politician to also have the skills, then we need to put that in there and say, if you want to be a minister of health, then you have to be well-versed, qualified in the medical field. If you want to be the Attorney General, then you have to, you have to be a lawyer, have a law degree,
and you can't do that.
And you can't. Yes.
That's why. That is precisely why OC, the fee, the registration fee as a candidate is only $1,000. The deposit is only $1,000. Because you cannot put it out of the reach of the ordinary man.
Person. Exactly.
And you don't have to be a scientist or a Harvard graduate to be an advocate. You don't. And that's not to say that, people should, if you're whatever your education is, that you should reconsider. No, listen. You're advocating on behalf of people. That's why it's called the House of Commoners.
Yeah, and going back to my point, that is why the technocrats, the civil service, is so important. Let's just use one example. Remember, now we went a long time before we had a minister of finance. And I will say this morning without any fear of contradiction whatsoever, that if either one of those ministers of finance that we had before or we currently have,
Minister of
Finance. I'm getting to that. What I'm saying is those previous ministers of finance, plus the current one that we have, could not be successful without the financial secretary and the staff that the financial secretary has.
Absolutely.
Goes back to my point again. It's the civil service, the technocrats, who are the ones. The policymakers are the politicians, and they're there to ensure that what the central policy-making body has decided that they want to happen, the minister then is to ensure that that happens. Yes, the minister may also be involved in that is also involved in that policy decision. But at the end of the day, where the rubber meets the road, with the civil servants. Let's go to the phone lines. We have two callers. First caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record. Good morning, caller. Welcome to For the Record. Good morning, caller. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, Doc. How are you?
Good morning to you, Mr. For the Record, and to the leader of the opposition, Honorable Mr. McLean.
Good morning, Doc. How you doing?
I really did not like how you guys dealt with the last caller.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that is you probably misunderstood what he meant. Just let me read what the Constitution says about district councils.
Well, I had that written down. It's just that I didn't get to it for whatever reason. But I wanted to do it because the first thing I wanted to say about that is that there is a law, but it does not necessarily keep in line with what many believe in the Legislative Assembly. Yes, it was a promise made by the now Premier that if he won back the election as Premier, that he was going to change that and do it. For me, let me lay my cards on the table, Doc, before you speak, please. For me, I have always advocated for local government. Now, at that time, it was 6 constituencies. I thought we would have local government overlapping the national government, meaning the representatives like myself when we get in there. So local government would be an election midterm then, 2 years in. so that that local government would serve also during a 2-year period of the existing of the current government of the day, the national government. Since we have gone to 19 constituencies, I think we need to redraw the remit of what a local government looks like. That is, I believe, instead of at the time I was saying...
You're equating advisory district councils to local government?
That's what I'm doing, yeah. Okay. I've always believed that.
But they're not one and the same.
Well, I believe that it must be a hybrid.
Okay. Let's not forget, Doc.
But listen, this appointment by the executive of these people that the law calls for, I don't support that.
Okay. Doc, go ahead, Doc.
Just let me read what the Constitution says. It says, subject to this Constitution, a law enacted by the legislature shall provide for the establishment, functions, and jurisdiction of council for each electoral district to operate in an advisory bodies to the elected members of the Legislative Assembly.
Mm-hmm.
In 2009, when this Constitution was enacted, we had 6 electoral districts,
mm-hmm.
and not one council, not one district council was enacted under the Constitution then, under this section 119 then.
Mm-hmm.
It's been 10 years now.
Yep.
And I think it's 6 years now since we've had single member constituencies. Or 5 years, I think.
No.
Since we've had single member constituencies.
No.
4 years now.
No, we only contested the election.
Last election.
Yeah, 2017.
Since last election, we had single member constituencies. And yet nothing was done. Because in order to follow the Constitution as is written now, you would have to amend. You do not have to amend the Constitution,
mm-hmm.
because it's clear. It says for each electoral districts, and we have 19 electoral districts.
That's right.
So if you want to reduce it down to 6 councils, you would have to go to amend Section 119.
I didn't say reduce that. I am talking about when it
no,
was
I mentioned I mentioned
was,
the fact that we could
right.
look at that. Yeah.
No, you can't, because the Constitution doesn't allow
mm-hmm.
you to do it.
But I'm going to look at the because it was something that was raised. I discussed it very briefly with Mr. Von Carter, and I'm going to look at the Constitutional Commission's recommendations and see what they say about it before the show is over as well. Go ahead, Doc.
Because you cannot willy-nilly not adhere to the provisions of the Constitution.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems to me that's what politicians in Cayman have done all along. And I just do not understand why the people, because if the people do not read the Constitution purposely or inadvertently do not understand what it means. But for us who read the Constitution, the government is derelict in their duty and not implementing the Constitution.
Okay, now, Doc, let's look at practicalities now. Let's look at practicalities. And you would know about this because you were part of the Electoral Boundaries Commission. But from a practical standpoint, do we see 19 advisory district councils
absolutely
working when we have so much overlap when it comes to a school, for instance, location of a school, or when it comes to some other physical location? How are we going to deal with that when it may in some way infringe on more than one constituency?
That's another matter. The fact, what I'm saying, nothing has been done about
Got you.
that.
Okay.
Nothing
yes,
has been done
okay,
in 10
got
years.
your point. Yeah.
Well, Doc,
we haven't tried to resolve anything. Yeah.
Well,
not one thing has been done in 10 years.
No, that's not so, Doc. That's not so, Doc.
What has been done?
The UDP government of 2009 to 2013 enacted a law. But that law...
But that's what he's talking about. It nothing has been done with that law since.
Hang on. That law was not good enough from time it was enacted.
Right.
Because, so we can't say it wasn't anything done. What was done was not in done, it was not agreed by everybody in that those advisory councils were going to be appointed by the executive. And you know what that happens there when an executive...
So are you saying that if that was in place, that everyone would have agreed to it? Because what Doc is saying, that it is still flawed. That legislation that was put in place was still flawed and not fit for purpose. Isn't that what you're saying, Doc?
I said it is still flawed, but 10 years
Right.
now they have not done to correct it.
Exactly.
Correct.
It doesn't take 10 years to correct a flawed piece of legislation.
Correct. But there are those...
They amended the Constitution to allow Grand Court judges to stay on longer. And that was done so quickly that people didn't even know it was done. And this is 10 years now, where the people themselves have a voice in advising their elected members. And you know why? The elected members do not want any advice from anybody.
There are those, which I was just about to say, who will say in private, they will not get on that mic. I've heard it said in private that no one is going to no one unelected is going to advise me. They must be elected. I have heard that on a number of occasions when this subject has been brought up. And no one wants it. But when it comes now to 19, and OC was talking about how two things. OC was talking about how does that work when you got 19 constituencies. Well, you bring down the numbers. You only need 3 people for each constituency. That's what talk about redrawing the remit. It may be then you put in there that those within that district work together on the general matters like schools and churches and government facilities and whatnot, general facilities that serve that entire district. Those are the kind of redraws that we need to do.
Doc, we have to take a break. I don't know if you want to hold on while we take this commercial break. Folks, please.
I just want to say one more thing.
Okay, go ahead very quickly.
That is all hogwash. The problem is, if I was elected, within 1 week I could have those amendments before cabinet. 10 years it's taking, and not one of you wants to be advised by anybody other than the people, especially who probably
you need to direct your position to the cabinet, which is the unity government, which is a combination of the UDP and the PPM, led by the Honorable Alden McLaughlin, that you all put there. Wasn't me.
Doc, thank you very much, folks. Please stay tuned. This conversation will continue after this commercial break.
At Seaboard Marine, customers often ask us questions about their shipments.
Hi, I'm thinking of buying a car from the States. Which port do you ship out of?
Hi, we ship out of Miami, Houston, and Brooklyn. Just let us know your port of choice and we can provide you with a quotation and answer any questions you may have on insuring and protecting your vehicle during its journey.
Shipping shore to shore, Seaboard.
We all know there's nothing more refreshing than the taste of an ice-cold Coca-Cola straight from the cooler.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling.
Whether it's celebrating a birthday, promotion, or just a great meal, make each moment a Coca-Cola moment.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling.
Available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Make sure you ask for the unforgettable flavor of a classic Coca-Cola.
Mommy, have you been taking your medication? No, I think I forgot to pick it up. Your doctor prescribed it for a reason, so you should be taking it regularly. I know, TD. Thanks for the reminder.
If you are elderly or vulnerable and need your prescription delivered to your home, contact the Health Services Authority Pharmacy at 949-8600. Taking your medication when prescribed is important to your health, and your health matters to us. For more information about our pharmacy hours and locations, visit hsa.ky or call 949-8600.
All Ministry of Education's scholarship recipients, returning and new students are advised that there will be a mandatory Zoom meeting today with the Secretariat. The mandatory meetings will be hosted online via Zoom and will be specific to each university's location. 10 a.m. returning students studying in the UK. 11 a.m. returning students studying in Canada and the Caribbean. 12 noon returning students studying in the United States and other jurisdictions. And at 4 p.m. the meeting will be held for all new 2020 overseas scholarship applicants, and parents may also attend this meeting. All students are required to attend the online Zoom meetings specific to their university location. Topics to be discussed include procedures for submitting required documents, travel arrangements, and alternative options for consideration during the pandemic. For more information about the Scholarship Secretariat, email scholarships@gov.ky or visit www.education.gov.ky. Attention parents and guardians. Don't forget that registration for students enrolling in or transferring to government schools for the 2020-21 school year closes on Friday, June 26. To register, please email edu.registration@gov.ky or call Mr. James Watler at 244-1841 or 916-3779. Or find the registration link on Facebook at Education Cayman.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. I think Doc is still on the line. We're going to give him an opportunity to wrap up because we still have a few callers. Yeah.
What I'm saying, every elected member has a duty to uphold the Constitution, and whether you're in cabinet or not, this law needs to be fixed, and the opposition, if the government doesn't do it, the opposition then has a right to bring the amendments to the Legislative Assembly, and at least has it debated, even if they do not have the numbers to have it passed.
So, Steve,
that's what I'm saying.
Okay. Steve, where have you been when Mr. Miller and I were for two successive administrations, 2009 to 2013, 2013 to 2017, when we were singing the song to revamp the law, the district council law that was promulgated by you on behalf of the UDP? Where were you when Mr. Miller and I were doing that during all that period, and nobody listened to us? We opposed the law, the very law that you wrote for them, when it was brought to the Legislative Assembly. And then when Alden got in 2013, we brought questions and motions to change and develop the district council. That was what Mr. Miller and I did. Now, when it comes to us getting the resources to write private members' bills, which is very costly, we have fought for the Attorney General to give us somebody out of his office to give us advice in the opposition, something that not necessarily this opposition, but all oppositions, that the government should provide resources for, and the time maybe the time has come to give the opposition, because the opposition has a permanent place in our Constitution, and that has not been forthcoming. But if we need to write it, granted, I'm no draftsman, I have to go out and hire a draftsman, lawyer, or whatever the case may be, or get volunteers to do it.
But I think we've been down that road before.
Absolutely.
In terms of what Dr. Mark Field has said in relation, to that part of it. Doc, final comments, because we have other callers queued up.
To Mr. McLean is, your leader at the time, Mr. McLaughlin, who is now the Premier, when he was in the opposition, his opposition to the district council's law was that the members were appointed by the cabinet.
Right.
That's what he was supposed to, and he said that they should be elected by the district.
That is correct.
themselves.
That is correct.
Yes, but he has been in power now for over this year, and he has done nothing to change that. What he said it was.
I'm glad you recognize.
That's what he said it was.
He was my erstwhile leader when it came to the opposition, and that was for about a year. Since then, he has not led me, not even in the land look for mangoes, but no, he not only that, he put it in his manifesto, the PPM manifesto in 2017, and there was a big blow up with it because of Mr. Frank McFeel and Kenneth Bryan in Georgetown. That there was much debate on it during that period, where he promised that if he became premier again, that he was going to change it.
Okay. Gentlemen, we're going to have to move on from this subject. I want to take one more call before we go to our headline news at 9 o'clock. Doc, thank you very much. Next caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Yes, good morning, Mr. O'Connor.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Okay, and good morning to leader of the opposition, Mr. Ard McLean.
Good morning. Good morning.
I have a question, Mr. McLean. What plans does England have in place in helping us financially as an overseas territory if the situation we are now facing continues for a long period of time?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, caller. Mr. McLean?
That's a very good question, but one that I would not know, because England does not engage the opposition on those matters. Those matters are from one government to the next. Understand how these things work.
But if we look at history, right, and what the UK go ahead Dan.
Historically, they have not supported us in anything of that nature, except they want to know that that we do not squander the money and ensure that their international obligations are not strained by anything we may do, such as their local.
So technical support they will provide for us. They're going to make sure at the end of the day that if we are going to go beyond the financial restrictions that we have that are enshrined in our Constitution, if we're going to try to go beyond that, we have to get permission from them. Yeah. And at the end of the day, they're going to make sure that they're not left holding the bag
because of their local. That's what I was about to say. Their local obligations to their people. They do not want English.
But we're their people too. I have my British passport. I'm British too, so I'm their people too.
Physically we're not, because we are removed from them. That is in the context in which I said it, in that they're talking about the persons who reside in England. Their first responsibility is to them.
To British citizens wherever they reside.
Totally agree. That's how it should be. But the problem with that is they extend the British citizenship to us, and then don't recognize it in its full authority, with the full authority. And remember, there are some of those who say that if that is the case, that we are recognizing the overseas territories as British citizens, then they should be represented in Parliament. And there is a kickback against that. There has always been. So it is a juggling act, and they will, and it will be unfortunate if we continue to stay in this situation and our revenues, our economy continue to go flat out. It's going to be our responsibility to bring it back up, and they're their representative here and them are going to say, this is what you have to do. And they're going to direct. So the responsibility...
The last thing we're going to see is them taking cash money out of their pocket to give us.
Absolutely. Or at least I think so. The responsibility lies, sir, the responsibility lies squarely on your shoulder and my shoulder as Caymanian, and particularly as generational Caymanians. We have a responsibility to take care of ourselves, and they're not going to be coming chasing us down to assist us. I can tell you that.
Top of the hour, folks. Headline news. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly. One caller on hold. We will take your call as soon as we return.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
It's only 2 species that we have here on the island.
Your voice, your choice.
It is in the best interest of the people of these islands.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
The Ministry of Education says Cabinet has approved funding for the provision of laptops to all government school students for use at home and at school. Cabinet approved allocating additional funding to purchase computing devices, additional wireless equipment, increased help desk support, software licensing for additional devices, additional bandwidth, and upgrading internet connections in all schools. People arriving in England from dozens of nations will no longer need to be in quarantine from July 10th. A full list of low-risk countries is set to be published today, but will include France, Spain, and Germany. Prime Minister Boris Johnson will urge the public to act responsibly ahead of England's lockdown being eased. New figures suggest 20,000 care home residents have died with COVID-19 in England and Wales since the beginning of March. The governor of Texas has ordered face coverings to be worn in public as virus cases rocket. With 53,000 new cases recorded on Thursday, the U.S. has set a new one-day record for new infections. Globally, there have been 10.8 million virus cases, and there have been more than 520,000 deaths. Those are your headlines. I'm Karsley Fuller.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
Your voice, your choice, your radio.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We have a good conversation going in relation to advisory district councils. And I want to share something with my audience. This may take a little while, but I want to give you as much of it as I can. The 10th of November 2011, an article written in the Compass by Norma Connolly entitled Opposition Boycotts District Councils. And it reads, Premier McKeever Bush criticized opposition boycott of the formation of advisory district councils at a meeting in Georgetown on Tuesday night. None of the members of the Legislative Assembly from the People's Progressive Movement attended the meeting to discuss how the Georgetown Council would be set up Tuesday, to which Mr. Bush said they had been invited. He's quoted as saying, I'm disappointed that the opposition has chosen to boycott this process.
Which includes me.
This is most unfortunate. There is room for a full cross-section of representation on these councils, as it should be. Their reason for not participating, they say, is they believe that council members should be elected. Mr. Bush told the meeting attended by about 70 people in the district town hall. The Advisory District Council Law 2011, which the opposition voted against when it was debated in the Legislative Assembly last year, states, a council, quote, and I'm quoting, a council shall consist of the following members, all of whom shall be appointed by the governor in cabinet: a chairman, a vice chairman, a secretary, a treasurer, and not exceeding 6 other members, at least 2 of whom shall be recommended by the leader of the opposition. Speaking to the Caymanian Compass on Wednesday, leader of the opposition, Alden McLaughlin, said his party had decided to boycott the process of recommending advisory district council members because the system was, quote, terribly undemocratic and runs completely contrary to what the provisions in the Constitution intended, close of quote. The Cayman Islands Constitution stipulates the establishment of advisory district councils for each electoral district to advise members of the Legislative Assembly, but does not mention whether such councils should be elected or appointed.
Absolutely.
The district councils certainly were not intended to simply be an extension of the political parties or the governing party in the district.
Absolutely.
The parties already have their own district councils, Mr. McLaughlin said. This is a quote again, to go about this the way they have and create a structure which imposes on elected members for the district a council made up of 80% of people appointed on the recommendation of the cabinet is just wrong. All we're going to get is a council who is pushing whatever the government policy is on a particular matter, said Mr. McLaughlin. Mr. McLaughlin also said 2 other options for creating the council should have been considered: to have the constituents of each district elect the members, or to have equal representation from the parties on the councils. He said for the opposition to recommend 2 members of the potentially 10-person council would be pointless, as they would be outnumbered 8-2. The balance is so skewed in favor of the government, you cannot possibly succeed, he said. We decided a long time ago that we are not going to participate in this and lend legitimacy to what we believe is a wholly obnoxious and undemocratic structure, the leader of the opposition said. Mr. Bush argued at the meeting that if the intention of the Constitution was for members of the Advisory District Council to be elected, then those persons who got MBEs for getting the Constitution should have been seen to it that it said so in plain language, referring to Mr. McLaughlin being awarded an MBE last year for constitutional reform in the Queen's birthday honors. And then it is headed West Bay Council. The elected member of the People's Progressive Movement also boycotted the establishment of the West Bay Advisory District Council, which was set up with 7 members in September, with 2 further members, Alice Mayco and Loxley Banks, appointed this week. The Premier said the government had given the opposition ample time and opportunity to make an appointment to the West Bay District, but had not heard back from the PPM. We appointed people in West Bay today, Tuesday, the 8th of November. I think they would say they're non-political. For instance, we appointed Mrs. Alice Mayco to the district council. I don't think anyone would say she's a supporter of mine, but she's there, and I think she can make a valid contribution. Mr. Loxley Banks is another, I think, very independent-minded person and a good West Bayer, and so he has been appointed, Mr. Bush said. Lawyer Steve McField, who has been working with the senior strategic advisor to Mr. Bush,
Working
with the senior strategic advisor to Mr. Bush's ministry, Leonard Dilbert, on the establishment of the district councils, said the opposition had failed to fulfill their legal duty to recommend members to the district councils. Asked after the meeting if the opposition's decision not to recommend 2 members made the legality of making up the councils questionable, Mr. McField said, and I quote, "The opposition have an obligation to do so. They are derelict in their obligation, and their members ought to insist that they make the appointment under the law. We will have to see. Someone would have to challenge that to see how it goes. But if they're derelict in their duty, then I don't know what's going to happen. There's something we have to face when we get to it. The law. The law says they have an obligation to make 2 recommendations, and they refuse to do so. It's bad for the country. The article goes on to say that during Tuesday's meeting, some members of the audience strongly opposed the possibility of non-Caymanian status holders or permanent residents nominating councillors or become councillors on the Advisory District Council. Mr. McField told the meeting that district councillors could be drawn from any resident of a district and did not have to be electors. He's quoted as saying, anyone who lives in a district who has special qualifications, special knowledge, and are suitable to be appointed has a right to be nominated as a councillor, Mr. McField said. Mr. Dilbert said the MLAs in Georgetown had chosen to first look at nominations from the public when determining who to recommend as members of the Georgetown Advisory District Council. He's quoted as saying, it is therefore in your hands to make a determination about who these people would be that you put forward. All the sensitivities being referred to by you would therefore have to be taken into account in making a decision about whose names you want to put forward, Mr. Dilbert said. Now this, I'm almost at the end of it, so I can share the rest of it with you. Mr. Dilbert said it was, quote, highly unlikely, close of quote, that any transient person with no stake in the community somehow gets to be a member of the council, because Georgetown residents would not nominate someone in that category. Nominations for the Georgetown Advisory District Council would be accepted at a meeting on Tuesday, the 22nd of November. Mr. McField said the nominations would be open and public. Council members are to provide advice and information to the elected members or members of their respective districts on a number of topics included finance, tourism, development, immigration, public works, education, sports, culture, and any other matters that affect the district. Advisory district councils have a maximum of 10 members who could be drawn from any walk of life, Mr. Bush said, including from the civil service. District councils meetings will be held in public, although Mr. McField pointed out that under certain circumstances, for instance, when a person's health or financial situation is under discussion, meetings could be held in private. So that there is an article from the Caymanian Compass in 2011.
Well, that's precisely what I was talking about. This law, which was and remains extremely flawed, which was done by Mr. McField, is now, Mr. McField is the one who's saying it's not fit for purpose now. Well, it wouldn't, if it's not fit for purpose now, or something needs to be done, it wasn't fit for purpose in 2010-11 when we voted against it. I voted against it. I will stand with my hand raised that I was one who voted against it. I supported the view of Alden at the time, who was our leader in the PPM, the political leader, and I support the view, continue to support that view. Now, I do not support that Mr. McLaughlin has been the premier for 2 terms now, and he has done nothing about it. I believe that we need to do something about it. I think we all need to sit down and deal with it in order that we more authority is devolved to the people and get their advice, or we put more financial means into their hand to do work within at the local level. At the local level, I agree that this thing called our Constitution is a living document. It is what governs us. It's what manages us as a people. But most people use it as a document of convenience. Like this current government, when it's convenient, they will point to the Constitution. When it's not, they dismiss it and change the rules and do as they please. For instance, if we ever reach the point where I believe the legislature should be, which is select committees to look at different things, there is a possibility that can be done with the legal practitioners law bill. If we reach that point, the opposition must be respected enough to have their professional advisors there, and they're paid for by the country. That is the very least that can happen, because you're not going to have constitutional lawyers in the opposition, or for that matter on the other side. But yet the government has their expert, which is in the form of the Attorney General. Therefore, the opposition must do the same thing. But when it's convenient, they'll say, well, the Constitution does not permit that. And therein lies where we are. We need to ensure that the Constitution is adhered to as written, and if it's need for interpretation by someone else. We see just yesterday, we had a ruling by the Court
of Appeal
of the separation of powers, which is what the previous one on the same-sex marriage did as well. Now, if you ask me if the court went too far on the one with the same sex and saying that we have to do it or England has to do it, maybe they went a little bit too far. But when it comes to the separation of powers, the Constitution clearly defines, and I agree with the Premier in what they just did to appeal that, because of the authority to make laws and to govern this country lies squarely on the shoulders of the people, that the representatives that the people put there in their legislature.
Taking a commercial break, and we have 2 callers on hold. We will take those calls as soon as we return. Please stay tuned.
Sacrifices you've made to keep us all safe. During these challenging times we're facing, our top priority is the health and safety of the communities we serve. And while it's true that things are changing rapidly every day, one thing that will never change is our commitment to giving you the best and sound financial solutions to help you during and after the coronavirus pandemic. At Fidelity Bank, our focus will always be you. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Recent worldwide events bring into focus the need for quality health care. Your life is meaningful. Your health is no laughing matter. Cayman Pharmacy Group strives to make your health their concern. Recognizing the complexities of pharmaceuticals and the need to personalize your care with one-on-one counseling. West Bay Pharmacy, Savannah Pharmacy, and CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy. Convenient quality care is just around the corner. Visit CaymanPharmacy.com for more information. Cayman Pharmacy Group, taking care of your health.
We all know there's nothing more refreshing than the taste of an ice-cold Coca-Cola straight from the cooler.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling.
Whether we're celebrating a birthday, promotion, or just a great meal, make each moment a Coca-Cola moment.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling.
Available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Make sure you ask for the unforgettable flavor of a classic Coca-Cola.
All Ministry of Education's scholarship recipients, returning and new students are advised that there will be a mandatory Zoom meeting today with the Secretariat. The mandatory meetings will be hosted online via Zoom and will be specific to each university's location. 10 a.m. returning students studying in the UK. 11 a.m. returning students studying in Canada and the Caribbean. 12 noon returning students studying in the United States and other jurisdictions. And at 4 p.m. the meeting will be held for all new 2020 overseas scholarship applicants, and parents may also attend this meeting. All students are required to attend the online Zoom meetings specific to their university location. Topics to be discussed include procedures for submitting required documents, travel arrangements, and alternative options for consideration during the pandemic. For more information about the Scholarship Secretariat, email scholarships@gov.ky or visit www.education.gov.ky.
Wow, looks good. What is that?
Chicken share.
What did you just say to me?
Chicken share.
I am not a chicken.
Whoa! I said chicken share. It's from KFC. Bucket of 12 hot wings, 6 pieces of chicken, or 8 tenders. KFC chicken share. Just $12 each.
Oh.
Want some chicken, tenders, or hot wings?
You're sharing your chicken share with me?
The new chicken share from KFC, just $12 each, and it's finger-licking good. Dine at KFC Baytown Plaza, KFC Shedden Road, or KFC at the Strand.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matter. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We have 2 callers. Before I go to the callers, though, we got one voice message. I'm going to paraphrase what the caller has said on that, but basically saying that one of the pension providers, Brit K, keeps pushing the date back in terms of when payouts will be made to the persons who have made applications to withdraw from their pension scheme. I'm not sure whether or not that is the case, but if anyone has any experience or experiencing any difficulties, if you want to share them with us, please do so. But we also want to remind you that you can, the Commissioner for Pensions, you can report any perceived breaches to that office, and they will look into it as well. Let's go to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. O.C.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you, sir?
Good morning again. I
almost didn't get the voice there.
I would just like to clarify 2 points.
Okay.
Number one, I did not say that the law was inadequate then and it's inadequate now. What I did say was that the opposition, which is not the part of the government now, then said that the law was inadequate. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's what I did say. And number two, the Constitution does not make any provision for local government.
No.
Section 119 is not a provision for local government. So there's no need for elected members for district councils to be elected by people. That is what Mr. Alden McLaughlin said was his reasons for not supporting it. But the Constitution does not say that. It says it's an advisory body. It's an advisory body. Now, if you or you're now the opposition or the government bench on the other side now feels that it's still that how the members are appointed is still skewed towards the government, then you ought to come and amend it to make it the way you think it should be. And so therefore, one of the reasons for not having a local government is the British government at the time did not want a two-tier system of people in the district that would have the right or the privilege to pass legislation on a local government level. They wanted to deal with only one body, the Legislative Assembly. If you study district councils in New Zealand, Australia, Scotland, and all those places, most of them are advisory bodies. And the reason for that, it takes people from out of the districts to advise the government on issues like what I said, tourism, finance, sports, and things like that, so that democracy is filtered all the way down to the local level. And one of the reasons for it not being elected is because you don't want to be restricted to only people who can vote. And therefore, a district council is a body that encompasses people from all walks of life that have special experiences that can help the government in power formulate policy. That's what it's for.
Well, I don't know if you listen.
And just let me tell you, my point is always pushed to the side. You're 10 years now, and not one amendment to say that, well, it was skewed towards the government, but we are going to make it different. Not one person has done that. Not one amendment has been brought to the law. The law is still there. They refuse to put it into force, and they refuse to amend it. And that tells me that the elected members do not want the people who they are representing to have any voice whatsoever once they get elected. That's my point.
Well,
because 10 years, it took 10
maybe...
years. And another point I'd like to make. In the modern legislatures now, and modern parliaments now, people try to elect professional people and not elect personalities. And that's the reasons why you probably do not have anyone on your side who can draft amendments and bring them to the legislature, because all we have done is we have elected people who really do not have some qualification that we actually need in a modern parliament.
Okay.
That is the end of what I have to say this morning.
Thank you very much, Doc. Thank you very much.
On that last point, let me say, O.C., that's the people's choice. Mm-hmm. And I will not take that away from them. But what needs to happen is that when the people's representative go in there, and we all recognize that you go in there to represent, to be an advocate, maybe the time has come for the people of this country to say, we are going to pay for the opposition to also have the same kind of professional advice that the government gets. The Constitution makes it very clear that the Attorney General, who's appointed by the state, is the legal advisor to the Legislative Assembly and to the government. Now, when the Attorney General requires additional legal expertise, that money is put aside and he is allowed to go and get someone to assist him in that representation. Therefore, I think it's only fair that we start the discussion on how we are going to deal with that for the opposition in our country that is recognized in your Constitution. Now, let me go a little further. Yeah. We have heard Mr. Macfield also advocating for bicameral house, a bicameral system in this country. This was brought up by McKeever many years ago, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but that's where you get your professionals to come in to a political system. You appoint professionals who has that expertise.
Well, they can be professional.
Well, yeah.
A lot of times they're political. A lot of times they're political appointees who fail to get elected, and you give them a slot in there.
The theory I'm talking about. I ain't talking about the practical.
You got to make it clear.
How it is operated. Mm-hmm. Now, when he said that advisory councils cannot be local government, I totally agree with him. But I didn't advocate for them to be to be local government. I said a hybrid, so that there are certain things that
That's why I asked you the question: are you equating district councils to local government?
No, not in its full extent. Mm-hmm. But if you get them elected, and there are certain aspects within your constituency, that's what I talk about, giving them a budget. And they can submit, and then if we allow them to do certain things like beautification and that kind of stuff. You see what I'm saying? And then it lessens the major, but it would not be a full local government. It would be a hybrid of it. They still be advisory, but they can get things done in their constituents.
Okay, time for us to take a commercial break, and we still have one caller on hold. We will take that caller as soon as we return, so please stay tuned.
The Toyota-thon 2020 event is going on now at Vamped Motors. Get our lowest prices of the year on a great selection of our most popular Toyotas with big savings on the new CHR Hybrid, the 7-seater Rush, the adventurous RAV4, the rugged Hilux truck, and more. You can drive home an amazing deal. Save up to $5,000. Take the full discount, get cash back, upgrade your vehicle with your savings. It's all your choice during our huge Toyota-thon sales event going on through July. Don't miss out. Come to Vamped Motors for your new Toyota. Let's go places.
Hi, I'm remodeling our bathroom. I have a few questions.
Sure.
What are some ideas to make my bathroom feel larger? How do I know if I'm picking the right vanity? How do I choose a new toilet or a new countertop? Also, the lighting is terrible. Can I put a window or a skylight? And do I really need an exhaust fan?
You've come to the right place. At Brand Source, we custom design kitchen and baths, and our talented design team can help answer your questions. Whether you're looking for a modern, functional family bathroom or a luxurious personal retreat, we'll help create that beautiful space that makes your home yours. And if you're in a rush for a new look and have a limited budget, our ready-to-install bathroom vanities built with solid wood and countertops of the finest materials are a quick and easy remodeling solution.
For the very best in custom-designed kitchens and baths, visit Brand Source Home Gallery on Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, Cayman's Kitchen and Bath Center.
When a storm is approaching, be sure to not only stock up on drinking water, but also non-drinking water. This is water that can be used for cleaning and washing. You can store non-drinking water in clean bathtubs or other large sterile containers. Visit the Water Authority's website, www.waterauthority.ky, or follow us on social media for more hurricane preparedness tips.
This weekend, we're celebrating Constitutional Day here in the Cayman Islands. So tune in on Saturday night at 8 o'clock on Breeze Radio for your yesteryear musicals. Constitution Day edition. There'll be music and narrative reflective of and in celebration. That's Saturday night on Breeze Radio, 105.3 FM in Grand Cayman and 91.9 FM in Caymanbrack and Little Cayman. Saturday night, 8 o'clock, your yesteryear musical on Breeze Radio.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We have two callers. One caller has been waiting for quite a while, and I want to thank that caller for being so patient. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, OC.
Morning. I got confused just now because I thought it was your voice before, the last time when I greeted Dr. McPhail.
Yes. Good morning, you all. Good morning, Arden.
Good morning. Morning.
Yes. I have to agree with almost everything Dr. Steve said. Mr. Arden, I want to ask you, sir, have you lobbied, the opposition lobbied for finances so you guys can get legal draftings for the assembly meeting?
Absolutely.
You have been lobbying for finances?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Up to this week.
Okay.
And I want you to know that Mr. Miller did when he was the leader of the opposition as well. And prior to him, the Honorable McKeever Bush did as well.
Okay. Great call.
The House of Commons, I heard you mention that also. You mentioned the House of Commons, the bicameral system government UK has. Why aren't we having that bicameral government? You see what we could do, and you said something about the politician or the government. They are not allowing nobody that's not taking advices from anybody that hasn't been elected.
Right.
Now, have you all tried to get a lower house of government, which should be called the House of Commons? You've mentioned that also.
This is what we're in.
But you're not called that. Now, I know you all, Constitution amended to put you all as member of parliament. You call your house down the parliament. But parliament, in a sense, is completely different from how you guys run in our assembly here. You have more right to get up and ask questions and more rights to put your bills forward. I hope you realize that and just don't use it as a name. You can carry a lot more weight. Everybody in that assembly house, in that parliament, has the right to speak and to bring their bills forward. That's the British UK parliament system, not the, well, I think I hear what they call in this one here, administrative document, is all we have here. Now we have advanced ourselves to members of parliament, and we must act and carry the same protocol that the British parliament carries. I would love to see that.
What's the difference when it comes to it's the nomenclature. A parliament is a legislature. That's basically. And in a democracy,
it has a two-tier government, and the House of Commons, everything has to go pass through them before it becomes law. I know that for a fact.
But there are options. There are options. So, caller, what you're saying is that we should adopt that option where we have a bicameral legislature. And I just want to interrupt and just say that's one of the things that the then leader of the opposition, when the 2009 Constitution was being negotiated, that he was, well, he talked about it before that, but that's where he actually got the opportunity to push for it. Now, of course, you know, it wasn't accepted, but that was one of the things that he was talking about, having a bicameral legislature. Go ahead, caller.
So we need it because let me tell you something.
But
I can see our central government, I think, which is the elected government, the head government, Mr. Alden and them bunch, are very overwhelmed in this country with the work in the ministry. And I think you know that too, because you were there not too long ago, and you know how overwhelming it is. They can't even get out to have a town hall meeting.
But a bicameral has nothing to do with that.
No. I come away from the bicameral. I'm on another issue. The government. The government per se, the one with the power.
Well, let me tell you now. In a bicameral system, the upper house is appointed. That is why England having so much trouble with it now, with that peership, because it is not elected. Only if you know the history of Parliament, that's why the revolt was done in England, because when hundreds of years ago it was only those landowners and merchants who were making the laws, and the revolt, thus the creation of the House of Commons, where you get elected by your peers in your community to represent them in Parliament, in the legislature. And then they changed the name to Parliament to show the supremacy of it. But all parliaments are called legislature, where council people, where ordinary people meet to promulgate and enact laws to govern a country. No bicameral does that. No upper house does that. It can only be governed by those who are an election is you're first governed by the elected.
Caller, your final comments, please.
Okay, I got to ask a question. I was just getting into deep about Parliament. I'm trying to say the same here, Mr. McLean. We do need a second-tier government. That's all I was trying to say, because give me a few minutes more, I will see.
2 minutes.
The people are crying that they're not being represented. The country is. The country is being represented by the government up there in the glass house, not the official, but the elected. We need somebody that can take the place of the common man representation, the district council. Now, the government state they don't want to introduce it because they do not want the common man to bring them advices from the common man that's not, sorry, I didn't tell you the common man. Anybody that hasn't been elected, they don't want no advice from them. So if I was you, I would push and lobby for the House of Commons, go for another representation, body of representation.
Okay.
That you can represent the people.
Okay.
One more question.
Very quickly, very
Have
quickly.
you all, Mr. McLean, to you, sir.
Yeah.
Agriculture. I hear you all got a lot of bills going in to the assembly this sitting. Is there any bill?
It's finished. The Legislative Assembly finished yesterday.
Oh, it's finished already?
Yes. Yep. Colin, I want to thank you very much. For that. Just want to say there, careful what you wish for when you talk about bicameral legislature. Bear in mind, one of the facets of that is that the government, the ruling party, always gets the opportunity or always will have the numbers in a bicameral legislature, in a Senate, an appointed Senate, the same way that councillors were being appointed for the advisory district councils. Absolutely. And the opposition was only given the opportunity to appoint 2 members in a bicameral legislature where appointments are made by the parties, by the opposing parties. The advantage goes to the governments also.
At all times.
Let's go to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning to you, Mr. O.C., and good morning to the Honorable Leader of the Opposition.
Good morning, sir.
Very interesting talk here.
Yep.
I neither have an MBE nor do I have any sort of really education, so to speak, as people talk about academic university and getting degrees and all that, but I do have a lot of experience in that great university. My cousin Jim Borden would speak about because he's just like I am, that he was anyhow, the School of Life. We did have a bicameral system here for over 100 years, 150 years or so, and we had the Justice of the Peace, which would be the House of Lords in England, something similar, not exactly. And then you have the vestrymen, which are elected men from the very beginning. They kind elected, and then it was eight appointed, I think. But the first one, but that ended, and then you had 3 official members who had a vote, and they became very, very important in the 1962 election. I think it was with Mr. Ormond Panton. We know what happened. The thing with us is that many times I listen to people talking, and we think of ourselves as an independent country. But we are not. I mean politically independent, and that's where a lot of people might make the mistake and mix up 2 things of what independence, when we talk about it, what it means. It means political independence. Political. What you were speaking about quite extensively the other day, Mr. O.C., and you often speak about it. And I think, to be an informed public, I know we like to use the word educate, and that frightens people. I found that over the years, because a person with just finished in high school or not even finished have been many, very successful businessmen, been successful people at sea and so forth, you know. But you say educated, they think, oh, well, you got to be a lawyer, an accountant, or you got to have a BA degree or a BS or a MA degree, so forth, to be educated. So they get turned away from meetings, turned away from involving themselves or whatever. Information. I understand my friend Mr. Hill was saying there, but the House of Commons in England is, as you quite rightly said, Mr. McLean, and I'm glad we're MPs now and get rid of that MLA thing. I don't know when the MP will be official, but member. Anyway, I much prefer that term. That's what they are. The House of Commons elected power. And Mr. Churchill loved to talk about that. He loved that life. He loved the politics. He loved it, and that is what you all are.
That's right.
But they to have another branch, maybe a Senate, how much voting power would they have? The district councils can work. I know with like Jamaica, they had parish councils, and they were elected, and they had parish council elections long before they became independent. And those parish councils were very important because it determined who would be part of the government and who would win the elections. I can tell you that for a fact.
Mickey, if I may, we imported the Westminster system. And
we didn't import it. That was imposed on us.
Well, what we did, we quote unquote bastardize it by adjusting it to how it would suit us.
Yeah.
Yes. And we can do the same thing now. If it suits us, we make a hybrid. You don't have to reinvent the wheel, but we can put our own thing to it.
Okay, we're almost to a commercial break, Mr. Mickey. Just final comments from you, sir.
Yes, I'll say this quickly. I would like for people to understand what independence means, because it's political independence they're talking about. A wealthy person, high-earning people, which you have quite a few of here, they're already independent. They can buy what they want, go where they want, buy big, expensive cars for their children and for themselves, houses, send them anywhere all over the world to any prestigious university. That's independence for them. So they're not interested in seeing political independence. They can't blame them. It wouldn't be. And they're employers of many people. But the political independence would mean pushing forward the Constitution to a point where we take away the powers that the British governor would have here, as they did in Jamaica. It took 9 years.
We will have control over our own destiny. Carl, I want to thank you very much. Folks, we have to take that commercial break. We have closed off the phone lines now because I want to give the leader of the opposition final comments, and I want to share something with you as well. That was in one of the reports from the Constitutional Commissioner's 2010-2011 annual report, and what they said about advisory district councils as well. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
We all know there's nothing more refreshing than the taste of an ice-cold Coca-Cola straight from the cooler.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling.
Whether we're celebrating a birthday, promotion, or just a great meal, make each moment a Coca-Cola moment.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling.
Available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Make sure you ask for the unforgettable flavor of a classic Coca-Cola.
At Seaboard Marine, customers often ask us questions about their shipments.
I have various items coming from different suppliers that I need to ship to Cayman. Do you offer consolidation?
Yes. Seaboard Marine offers consolidation for full and less than container loads. We can hold your packages at our Miami warehouse until everything arrives and ship it all in one go. And we have the best rates to Grand Cayman. Visit seaboardmarine.com for more information.
Shipping shore to shore,
Headlines.
With the latest headlines.
Headlines.
One of Cayman's bright and shining young stars.
Local, regional, international.
Headlines.
Turning to international news. Updates on the hour between 7 a.m. and 6 p.m. on weekdays. All the news when you want it. Tune in to Radio Cayman for hourly headlines of the day's top stories.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
When interacting with domestic violence offenders,
be aware. Most perpetrators act out what was modeled for them and have not developed effective interpersonal conflict resolution skills.
Listen and realize that if a perpetrator discloses offending behavior, there is shame involved. If an offender is telling you there's a problem, they're taking a great risk by doing so and are showing trust in you.
Try not to judge. Instead, encourage them to seek professional help.
Advise them. If you think the situation is volatile, encourage them to find temporary accommodations away from the survivor.
And be honest with the domestic violence perpetrator. If he or she blames the victim, remind them that domestic violence is never okay.
For more information about domestic violence,
contact the Department of Counseling Services on 949-8789 or the Department of Community Rehabilitation on 949-1693 in Grand Cayman or 948-1521 in Cayman Brac.
All Ministry of Education's scholarship recipients, returning and new students are advised that there will be a mandatory Zoom meeting today with the Secretariat. The mandatory meetings will be hosted online via Zoom and will be specific to each university's location. 10 a.m. returning students studying in the UK. 11 a.m. returning students studying in Canada and the Caribbean. 12 noon returning students studying in the United States and other jurisdictions. And at 4 p.m. the meeting will be held for all new 2020 overseas scholarship applicants, and parents may also attend this meeting. All students are required to attend the online Zoom meetings specific to their university location. Topics to be discussed include procedures for submitting required documents, travel arrangements, and alternative options for consideration during the pandemic. For more information about the Scholarship Secretariat, email scholarships@gov.ky or visit www.education.gov.ky.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me this morning, the Honorable Arden McLean, Leader of the Opposition. We have closed off the phone lines. Mr. McLean, I'm going to read this and then I'm going to throw the mic back over to you. The second report of the Constitutional Commissioners 2010-2011, their annual report. And I believe at that time the late Pastor Al Ebanks was the chairman of the Constitutional Commission. Then,
so.
In relation,
and the late Joel, Mr.
McLaughlin,
the man were here. They spoke in the article. Loxley's wife was.
Yes. Okay. So in relation to advisory district councils, here is what they put in their report. This is 2010-2011 report. Input was sought from various governmental and non-governmental bodies with regards to advisory district councils, to which the Commission put forth its opinion on the bill in addition to general commentary on advisory district councils. As part of the correspondence, the Commission conveyed a desire to explore, through research, the role of the councils and the functionality as an additional layer of government. A response was provided to the Governor after His Excellency queried the merits of the research undertaken by the Commission. In this response, the Commission noted that in order to understand the practical application of the constitutional powers within the executive branch and the relationship between central government and its advisory bodies and the benefit of that relationship to the wider community, it would be prudent to undertake a study of the existing governance structure and the manner in which advisory bodies function. The Commission conveyed that it was also of the view that this information should be readily available to any member of the public. Now, that study and of that, the existing structure and the manner under which advisory bodies should function, my question would be, has that ever been done?
No, I don't think
and
so.
We need more discussion on this. If we're going to implement the section, the law, if we're going to amend the law, if we're going to get a law that is fit for purpose and what we want in terms of the powers of advisory district council, we all have to put our heads together and come up with something. It is in the Constitution, and at some point in time, there's going to be a challenge, just like we see other constitutional challenges taking place. Over to you, sir.
Maybe one of the things that OC, the country can be proud of, the Premier and I engage occasionally, and in particular in the Legislative Assembly and the Attorney General, when it comes to select committees. I have always advocated for select committees of the legislature. Now, we tend to stand fast on our position on proportionality, which the Constitution speaks about, but also the Standing Order speaks about it, of select committees. Constitution is very specific. It says that it must be, select committees must be made up in proportion to the makeup of the legislature. And we have always had some differences in that. I believe that that's what needs to happen. These are the types of issues that I believe needs to go to select committees. And people may not necessarily understand select committees. We have standing committees and we have select committees. We have discussed these things so much in the CPA, Commonwealth Parliamentary Association. Every country we go, there's some subject on it, and of course I have to weigh in with my mouth. But I guess that's why I've become so well known throughout the Commonwealth, because I have an opinion. And I believe these are the matters concerning the country that we need to select a group of members of Parliament to look at, because we represent the people. Not necessarily that we are the final authority on these things, but we represent the people. So I still advocate for that, and this district council matter should go to a select committee, and we decide on what we should put out to the public, and that's what select committees are about. And then you will not get, select committees removes the political acrimony and opposition to the executive bringing a particular law, a particular bill that the government naturally will put in place, because the government will have its way, while the opposition only has its say. And that is precisely what happened with this district council law that is currently in place. It was ill-conceived because at the time the government of the day wanted to penetrate, so to speak, the communities and have their own people decide what should be done in the communities. And you know, I was, all these years, I've not said anything about it, but I was particularly shocked that knowing Steve McPhail, that he would sit there and advise on this particular law and help draft this law, this bill and law, and then make it go to our legislature. He knew he was going to get opposition for it as a result of it. But the government put it in place.
But in his defense, not being a politician at that point in time, whatever he put there had to be in agreement with what the Premier wanted in that legislation. Otherwise, it wouldn't fly at all. So,
Thank you very much. Yeah. But what I'm saying is he still went out and advocate for it. I don't know if he was sold on it, if he was convinced, or if he was naturally a consultant to it. I don't know. But he can't come now and beat me up for it, for that law. Nor can he beat the Premier for the law when he was thick and thin in it. And I'm not trying to crucify him. I'm just trying to say that is Those are the facts. And yes, let us take Arden McLean on. Let's take Alden McLean on, but let it be proportional too, because he has been premier. And I just said that the government gets its way. The opposition gets its say. I can show you the questions and motions and amendments. I can show you the list of amendments Mr. Miller and I put in against this bill in 2011. Yet the government refused to take them on. But now I am being crucified, persecuted for the same bill that they did. It wasn't me who did it, OC. The government is going to have its way, no matter what you do, or we would have the tail wagging the dog.
But we also need to clarify Dr. Markfield's point is that it's been 10 years and no changes have been. Even if it's a bad law that he was involved in, he's saying now
but I
there's
just
an
said
opportunity
that.
to change
I
it.
just said that. You need to, I don't have a problem with being crucified, but make it proportional between Alden and I. Well, because the thing was here that we had objected to it when we were in the opposition. But let's be proportional now with your criticism too, because he has been the premier for 2 terms. So he should have done it. I couldn't do it. He's always going to have his way. I'll have my say.
Mr. McLean, I want to thank you very much. We never got an opportunity to talk about other things, but I think that this is a very useful discussion. I would advise all of our listeners, those who have an interest in this whole question of advisory district councils, again, visit the Constitutional Commission's website. You will find there previous conversation in relation to advisory district councils as well, and you can certainly familiarize yourself with it there. Folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman, and by extension, For the Record, into your homes, into your vehicles, into your places of work, wherever that may be. I also want to remind you that we are our brothers and our sisters' keepers. There is always someone out there who's less fortunate than we are, and I ask you to extend a helping hand to them. If you can't do that, then I suggest you donate to Worthy Charity, because we always want to consider those who need, not necessarily those who want or even those who crave. So I say to you, have a great day. Continue to support your radio station, Radio Cayman. Join Sterling Dwayne Banks at 12:15 for Talk Today. Any press briefings today, Miss Susan? Not sure. Press briefing Friday at 2 o'clock today? Okay.
Well, that's why we tried getting out of the legislature last night with all our private member motion.
Yes.
I said that to the Premier. I'm not going to make you have to come back here tomorrow if we just work till late. That's why we didn't get out until late.
Okay, great. Thanks for that addition to that as well. So, as usual, we ask the good Lord to bless these 3 beautiful, wonderful Cayman Islands.
For the Record is brought to you by Vamped Motors, the only authorized Ford and Toyota dealership serving the Cayman Islands. Cayman Pharmacy Group, with a location in West Bay and professional pharmacy at CTMH Doctors Hospital. The Cayman Pharmacy Group has a location for you just around the corner. Seaboard Marine, with over 35 shipping ports, find your shipping solution by calling 949-4977 or visit seaboardmarine.com for competitive rates.
FIS MoneyGram, the safest and most convenient way to send money worldwide. MoneyGram, bringing you closer. Coca-Cola, available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury. And Fidelity Bank.